You walk through a world of masks. People smile at you, applaud you, say they're happy for your growth, but deep behind their eyes, something twitches, a flicker of discomfort, a shadow of resentment. You don't see it because you're busy being kind, being trusting, being blind. But a warrior doesn't live in delusion. A warrior studies the battlefield, silently, without showing his hand, because envy doesn't scream, it whispers, it pretends, and falsehood, it wears the skin of friendship. You've been manipulated by those who praised you, betrayed by those who smiled. You let snakes in because you thought silence meant safety. Not anymore. Today, you learn the 10 signs: cold, silent, accurate. You'll see through envy without reacting, detect falsehood without flinching, and protect your energy like a fortress that burns intruders alive. This is mental warfare, and now you're equipped. Let's begin. Number 1, the praise that stings. The flatterer is the worst kind of enemy. Seneca. They don't criticize you. They praise you. Excessively, loudly, publicly. And yet, something feels off. Envy often doesn't come with open hate. It comes dressed in compliments. But real support is calm, grounded, respectful. Fake support. It's sugar-coated poison. The envious flatter you because they want access. They want to stay close, study your moves, and someday replace you. They'll clap when you win, but the sound is hollow. Watch their eyes when you speak. Are they celebrating or calculating? Stoics knew the most dangerous enemy isn't the one who attacks. It's the one who smiles with a dagger under the robe. You must learn to recognize overpraise. The person who constantly agrees with you, never challenges you, always boosts your ego, is not your friend. They're building a psychological trap, one compliment at a time. Mini reflection. When someone praises you, pause. Ask, are they elevating me or trying to disarm me? Comment, I see through empty praise. Number 2, eyes that can't hide. The face is the mirror of the mind. Cicero, words lie, but the body always speaks truth, especially the eyes. You want to know who envies you? Don't just hear them, watch them. Their mouth may say, I'm happy for you, but their pupils tighten, their smile is delayed. Their face goes stiff when you mention a win. That's the envy trying not to surface. Falsehood often dresses in politeness, but micro-expressions, those split-second flashes of emotion, betray what they try to hide. Look for the twitch in the jaw, the forced laugh, the look away when you share your progress. The Stoics believed mastery starts with perception, not emotion, not opinion, observation. They studied character like a battlefield, and when someone's face conflicted with their words, they chose silence and strategy. Modern weakness? We hear what we want to hear. We ignore what we see. That's emotional blindness, and envy feeds on it. You must become a mirror reader, not a mind reader, a mirror reader. Train yourself to scan the face when someone talks to you. Listen to their tone, but observe their eyebrows, their blink rate, their smile symmetry. When envy is present, the harmony breaks. Something always slips. And here's the cold truth. Most people don't even know they envy you. It leaks out in their posture, their delayed response, their discomfort with your success. Don't confront it, don't expose it. That's emotional ego. Just note it, store it, strategize. Because the one who truly sees doesn't need to react. He adjusts, quietly, coldly, completely. Mini exercise. Think back to a recent compliment you received. Rewatch the moment in your mind. Did their body align with their words? Or did something twitch? Command, I trust my perception. Comment it below. Number 3, silence after your wins. You will know a friend when you succeed, not when you suffer. Epictetus. When you fall, they comfort you. When you struggle, they're by your side. But when you rise, they go quiet. That silence isn't peace, it's envy swallowing itself. The world expects you to spot betrayal when someone attacks, but the Stoic mind watches for the moment someone disconnects after you evolve. It's easy to pretend loyalty in your pain, but only the pure rejoice when you rise. Watch for the shift. You get a promotion and they don't reply. You share a win and they change the subject. You level up and they disappear. That's not coincidence. That's psychological rejection of your progress. People who secretly compete with you see your growth as a personal threat, not because you did something wrong, but because you reminded them they haven't moved. And here's the silent danger. They don't sabotage you directly. They just withhold the one thing that reveals envy the loudest: joy for your success. This law is cold, because it forces you to accept something hard. Most people want you healed, but not ahead. They want to support you until you pass them. And when you do, they vanish, with fake excuses and silent distance. The Stoics didn't chase people who pulled away. They studied the absence. They read silence as signal. If someone disappears when you win, let them stay gone. You don't beg for celebration. You build without it. Because your true circle doesn't flinch when you shine. They reflect it back, loud, proud, and without hesitation. Everyone celebrates the wounded. Only a few celebrate the powerful. Those few, that's your tribe. The rest, they were spectators, masks, shadows. Let them fade. Mini reflection. Prompt: think of a recent win, small or large. Who celebrated you instantly? Who vanished into silence? Who changed the subject? Those aren't random behaviors. Those are emotional X-rays. Study them. Command: I observe reactions, not words. Comment it below. Number 4. Laughter with a knife. Beware of the man who laughs too much. Marcus Aurelius. There's a kind of joke that doesn't come from joy. It comes from envy. It's coated in laughter, but it cuts deep. They'll say, I was just joking, but your instinct will whisper, that didn't feel like a joke. That's because it wasn't. It was envy with a punchline. A backhanded comment designed to humiliate you in public without seeming hostile. The Stoics taught us, pay attention to tone and timing. Mockery always arrives when you're gaining momentum. When you improve your looks, they joke about vanity. When you make money, they joke about arrogance. When you elevate your standards, they joke about how serious or boring you've become. But the truth is simple. They joke because they can't compete. Falsehood uses humor as a weapon because it's harder to call out. If you respond, they laugh louder and say, you're being too sensitive. If you stay silent, they enjoy the sting they left behind. This is psychological warfare. Envy wrapped in laughter is the most socially acceptable form of sabotage. And it works because most people don't recognize it for what it is. They laugh along to avoid discomfort, or they absorb the insult, internalize the doubt, and shrink their light to avoid being made fun of. But not you. Not anymore. You're not here to flinch. You're here to observe and decide. You don't need to argue. You don't need to confront. Just remember this: when someone constantly jokes about the best parts of you, they don't admire you, they resent you. They want your strengths reduced to punchlines so they can feel safe again. Don't defend yourself. Just take note, reposition them, and move in silence. Let them drown in their own insecurity while you grow unshaken. Mini exercise. Recall a moment someone made a joke that left a sting. What were they really trying to say? Was it envy, masked as humor? Write it down, see it clearly, then let it go. Command: I decode every tone. Comment it below. Numeracincy, the long memory test. Time discovers truth. Seneca. Time doesn't just heal wounds, it exposes masks. Envy isn't always loud. It doesn't always mock you, compete with you, or disappear. Sometimes, it just waits. The most dangerous form of envy isn't impulsive. It's patient, strategic. It smiles in your face while it keeps a record. These people don't celebrate you. They study you. They pretend to support you until you rise too far. Then they reach into their archive of your past failures and remind you who you really are. They say, "Don't forget the old you. Let's not pretend you've always had it together. Remember when you failed at this before?" You'll hear it as a joke or a reminder. But that's not what it is. That's envy in disguise, pulling you back into the version of yourself they were comfortable with, the weaker you. The more you rise, the more their memory sharpens. Not because they care about your history, but because they're uncomfortable with your evolution. The Stoics understood this game of shadows. They knew that weak men are addicted to old stories because that's the only place they feel in control. So when you become mentally stronger, more focused, more disciplined, they don't know how to handle you. So they go back in time, to your mistakes, your missteps. Not because it's relevant, but because it's familiar. They can't defeat the man you've become. So they try to haunt you with the man you used to be, the archive of the envious. There are people who never truly forgive. Not because you wronged them, but because they secretly wanted to stay ahead of you. The moment you started rising, you became a threat. But they can't say that out loud, so they store your flaws. They remember that one thing you said 2 years ago. They bring it up in front of others when you least expect it, and say, "Just being honest." That's not honesty, that's emotional leverage. They want you humble, uncertain, apologetic. Because confident, you makes them insecure. The Stoics would say, if someone reminds you of your past, remind yourself that you overcame it. That's the key. You don't run from your past. You wear it like armor, so it can't be used against you. What hurts you is not your history. It's the weaponization of your history by those who want you small. The true test of loyalty. Most people pass the test of tragedy. They're there when you're broken, because your weakness doesn't threaten them. But only a few pass the test of success. When you rise, they flinch. When you level up, they back away. And when you speak with certainty, they suddenly remember everything you did wrong. That's not memory. That's envy's last resort. It says, if I can't beat them now, maybe I can reduce them to who they were. But your power isn't in being perfect. It's in refusing to shrink back into the past version of yourself, just to make someone else feel more comfortable. Stoic application, observation over emotion. The moment someone says, "Don't forget who you used to be," pause. Ask yourself, are they grounding me or trying to regress me? Some reminders are noble, they keep you rooted. Others are traps, they keep you shackled. Seneca said, "A man who has conquered his past is free. A man who fears it remains in chains." When you stop being ashamed of where you came from, their weapon becomes worthless. Let them bring up your old wounds. Let them whisper about your past. You don't flinch. Why? Because every time they reference the man you used to be, they're admitting they can't compete with the man you are now. Their memory is their crutch. Your evolution is your sword. Spot the signs. Long memory behavior. Here's how you know someone's running the long memory pattern. They always bring up the past when you're doing well. They act as the reminder of your flaws in social settings. They jokingly tell others about your failures when you're not present. They hesitate to praise your growth, but are quick to point out old weaknesses. They're not offering balance. They're trying to plant doubt, because once you question your own rise, they feel safe again. But you don't go backwards for comfort. You burn old bridges, you build new standards, and you walk forward like nothing behind you deserves a glance. Reflection. Exercise. Think of the last time someone brought up an old version of you. Was it said to help you or to shrink you? Now ask yourself, why do they need you to remember your failure? Why don't they ever repeat your wins? Write their name, observe their pattern, then set new boundaries. Reframe. Your past isn't a cage. It's evidence of strength, of survival, of transformation. Only those who envy your rise will keep referencing your fall. You've outgrown who you were. Don't let anyone put you back in that shell. Command, I watch what they remember. Comment it below. Number 6. The copycat pattern. He who envies imitates. Marcus Aurelius. They won't strike first. They'll study you. They'll mirror you. They'll trace your every move in silence, not out of respect, but envy dressed as admiration. You'll hear the compliments. You'll see the flattery, and you'll tell yourself they're just inspired, that they're learning, that you're helping. But what you're really doing is feeding your blueprint to a silent rival. Envy doesn't always attack from the front. Sometimes it walks behind you, watching, mimicking, gathering data. They start small, copying your words, your tone, your routines. They post like you, speak like you, even adopt your mindset. At first it feels harmless, even validating. But flattery fades when imitation becomes infiltration. These people don't want to be like you. They want to replace you. The Stoics taught us to study men by their patterns, not their praise. And this is a clear one. When someone mirrors too much, it's not respect. It's ambition in disguise. The more you grow, the more they follow. But not to grow themselves, to steal proximity to your position. They don't want to rise with you. They want to pass you quietly and call it their own path. And here's the shift you'll feel. The moment they believe they've learned enough, the tone changes. They stop celebrating you, start comparing, start competing, silently, strategically, and eventually they begin to resent the very foundation they copied because it still isn't theirs. You don't confront this energy. That's emotional. You outdistance it. That's stoic. You don't give them more access. You limit the oxygen, cut the feed, let them chase your shadow while you evolve again. Because by the time they copy your last move, you've already built a new one. You stay fluid, they stay behind. Because envy can mimic effort, but it can never match originality. So study who repeats your words, who reshapes their identity every time you shift, who treats your evolution like a playbook, and instead of arguing, simply reposition them quietly. You don't owe a reaction to those playing pretend. You owe yourself silence, speed, and distance. They think copying your fire makes them powerful, but a shadow has no heat. It only follows the flame. Number 7, fake concern mask. Hatred is hidden under the guise of care. Epictetus. They won't insult you. They'll worry about you. But behind their concern is a weapon, polished with pity, sharpened with envy. They'll say things like, "I just don't want you to burn out. Are you sure you're not being too ambitious? I'm only saying this because I care." But listen closely. It's not concern, it's control. They're not worried about you. They're uncomfortable with how far you've gone without them. So they wear softness like a mask and slide poison into their tone. The Stoics warned us about wolves in sheep's clothing, people who speak softly to dull your edge, who wrap jealousy in the language of care, who fear your speed, so they beg you to slow down. But their comfort is not your calling, and their softness is not love. It's manipulation. When someone truly cares for you, their words empower. When someone secretly envies you, their words confuse. One makes you feel stronger, the other makes you question yourself. That's the signal. The envious don't attack your dream. They gently suggest it's too much. They don't tell you to quit. They just ask, "Why do you care so much about this?" They don't criticize your evolution. They just hint, "You've changed." And that's the truth. You have changed. You've outgrown their comfort zone. And now they don't know how to relate to you, so they try to reduce you back down to something familiar, something less threatening. But you don't shrink to be understood. You rise and let the false ones fall away. Mini exercise. Think of the last time someone disguised doubt as care. What was the emotion you felt after they spoke? Clarity or confusion? Strength or subtle guilt? That's the difference between support and sabotage. Command, I hear the venom in softness. Comment it below. Number 8. the passive-aggressive smile. Hostility can wear a gentle face. Seneca. Not all enemies scowl. Some smile. Perfectly, politely, predictably. They greet you with compliments, nod at your wins, maintain the right expressions. But something doesn't click. Their energy is too smooth, too scripted, and too silent in key moments. This is the art of passive aggression, hostility that hides behind etiquette. The Stoics would tell you, don't trust harmony that feels hollow. When someone constantly maintains peace, but you feel tension beneath the surface, that's not intuition, that's intelligence. That's your inner strategist detecting emotional contradiction. Passive-aggressive envy operates subtly. They won't challenge your decisions, but they'll drag their feet when you need them. They won't insult you directly, but they'll withhold support when it matters most. They won't say anything negative, but everything they say feels rehearsed, filtered, and laced with distance. They protect their reputation with surface-level kindness, but they poison your progress with silent resistance. The most dangerous people aren't openly hostile. They're those who pretend neutrality while sabotaging from the shadows. Watch how they respond when you're praised in public. Do they look at the floor? Do they avoid eye contact? Do they force a smile? That smile isn't kindness, it's a mask for suppressed resentment. And here's the strategic truth. The one who never gives feedback, never disagrees, and always acts overly nice, is often the one who talks the most when you're not in the room. You'll feel it in your gut. Don't ignore it, but don't confront it either. That's noise, and noise gives them power. Instead, adjust your exposure. Reduce emotional access. Observe, recalibrate, and stay colder than their disguise. Because silence isn't always peace, and a smile isn't always approval. The Stoic mind sees through performance. Yours must too. Mini reflection. Think of someone in your circle who never directly criticizes, but makes you feel small with silence, subtle jabs, or filtered smiles. What truth are they too scared to say? Command. I don't trust surface peace. Comment it below. Number 9. Delayed congratulations. True friends rejoice quickly. Epictetus. It's not what they say, it's how long they take to say it. When you win, real allies respond instantly. They feel it in their chest. They don't need time to process your success. They celebrate it because your rise feels like theirs. But the envious, they delay. They hear about your progress and go silent. They see your achievement and need time to catch up. They act like they missed the message. Or worse, they say, "Oh, I didn't even know." But they did. They saw it. They just couldn't digest it. That's not forgetfulness. That's friction. The Stoics didn't beg for praise, but they watched patterns. And one pattern never lies. Who gets loud when you lose and quiet when you win? Delayed congratulations are resentment in disguise. It's emotional resistance. They can't clap because your success threatens their sense of self. They thought you'd never change. They thought they had time. But now you're ahead, and their ego isn't ready. So they respond late, or make it transactional, or try to equalize it by mentioning their own mini-victory right after yours. Watch how they speak, but more importantly, watch when they speak, because timeliness reveals truth, and envy always hesitates. You don't need their validation, but their delay reveals their emotional temperature, and that data is priceless. So don't resent the silence. Record it, remember it, and adjust the level of your openness accordingly. You're not here to chase claps. You're here to track character. Mini exercise, reflect on a recent win. Who congratulated you with speed and strength? Who hesitated, changed the subject, or went quiet? Don't rationalize it. Just write the names. That's your clarity. Number 10. Sudden disappearance. Absence reveals true loyalty. Marcus Aurelius. When you needed them, they were always around. When you struggled, they listened. When you were confused, they offered advice. But the moment you started rising, they disappeared. No goodbye, no conflict, just distance. And you wonder why. You didn't insult them. You didn't change your treatment. You just evolved. And that alone was enough to threaten the fragile equilibrium they had with you. Because your glow exposed their stagnation. Your focus made their excuses louder. And your rise reminded them of everything they hadn't done. The Stoics understood that silence speaks louder than noise. When someone vanishes from your life without reason, it's never random. It's resistance in motion, emotional retreat, the mind's way of avoiding what makes it uncomfortable. So they leave. Not because you failed them, but because you stopped needing them. You became independent, strong, focused, and for some people that's intolerable. Their identity was tied to your weakness, and now that weakness is gone, they don't know how to relate to you. So they do what envy always does. They vanish silently and hope you notice, hope you chase, hope you slow down just to ask why. But you don't. You let them go with grace. Because any connection that breaks when you elevate was built on fragile terms. It was never loyalty, it was dependency. And the moment you became powerful, their place expired. This isn't bitterness, it's clarity. You're not losing people, you're shedding weight. Every time you step into a higher version of yourself, old ties will burn. That's the price of growth and the reward of freedom. So don't mourn their disappearance. Study it, learn from it, and keep moving forward with even more discipline. You never needed them. You needed to see who they really were. Mini reflection. Who stopped showing up when you started showing up for yourself? Whose silence echoed when you finally started to win? You've seen the signs now, the praise that stings, the eyes that twitch, the silence after your wins, the mockery disguised as jokes, the long memory of your flaws, the copycat with quiet envy, the concern that softens your edge, the smile that hides resistance, the delayed congratulations, the sudden disappearance. Each one a mirror, a test, a warning. You don't need to expose anyone. You don't need to argue. You need to observe, remember, and stay dangerous in silence. Because now you're not blind. Now you move with precision. Now you protect your mind like a fortress and watch emotions like a general scans the battlefield. Let others rot in the performance of friendship. You walk in truth. You walk alone if needed. And every step is power. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you." No reaction, no chase, just cold clarity and unstoppable evolution. Like, subscribe, and comment below. I command my mind.